Released May 6th, 2021 for PC VR and Oculus Quest 2 by developer and publisher Resolution Games. Demeo is my first foray into the tabletop strategy genre, and I'm going to just go right ahead and say, especially for those of you with short attention spans who have no intention of watching more than 1 minute of this review, Demeo is so far my game of the week, month, year, a decade, and beyond. Thanks to the publishers for the review key.
Welcome to the elven necropolis of Halmar.
At one point, I was beginning to believe I was outgrowing video games. I know, heresy, but hear me out. I used to love fighting games, but I have somehow lost complete interest. I used to love Battlefield and bought every iteration of COD religiously. I have yet to play Cold War, and the reason for this is, I've been gaming for so long, I've been playing these genres and titles for so long, that just like with movies, no matter how great they look with all the fancy sparkling new tech, they still feel the same. When I was a kid, I watched all the superhero movies I could. And I'm talking about when Christopher Reeve was Superman. Now, you couldn't pay me to watch Black Panther or any of the Avengers movies. I really feel like I outgrew them. They're so boring to me now. And while I can safely say I had a great time with games like Mafia 2 and 3 and, let's say, A Plague Tale Innocence, there really are a few standout titles other than those that would have me singing praises. And as good as the aforementioned are, I wouldn't revisit them today, not with 100 remasters. But this brings me to Demeo. I saw a few trailers, reviews, and the visuals really caught my interest. Then I watched a few more gameplay videos and thought, this really reminds me of a few titles from my past that made me fall in love with gaming in the first place. Gauntlet was the first game that came to mind. Then I thought of others like Torchlight and even Nine Parchments. These are games I liked before even playing them, simply based on visuals. Then I started to think, Demeo isn't just an RPG dungeon crawler though. It's a tabletop sim, like a board game, a virtual VR version of Monopoly. Yes, I know, once again, heresy. But bear with me though, as I never played Dungeons and Dragons, and it never had an interest. And I never liked board games either. So it got me thinking, if you don't like tabletops or board games, why would you like this game? I was hesitant. Then the answer came to me. 1. It's in my now preferred genre of choice, a VR. 2. It looks so damn good. And 3. I'm not a part of the masses who are afraid of change. I love learning new things, and this is what got me into Demeo. A new experience that was 100% stellar.
And their plight has caused vile corruption to seep into the surrounding lands.
Demeo has a story, a pretty good one, but it being the kind of experience it is, the story is simply there to give context, to create a purpose. And I have no problem with that. In the elven necropolis of Halmar, the king and his subjects' spirits have been trapped across the necropolis due to an unholy pact said king made in a bid for immortality with the outer darkness. You and your team, or should you prefer making this perilous trek alone, are burdened with the task of setting these souls free. The story is played out in chapters. The first chapter on release is The Battle with the Black Sarcophagus. Then through an update, we now have The Realm of the Rat King. I suspect based on the quality of Demeo and the warm reception it has received, we'll be seeing more chapters relatively soon. What is next? The visuals in Demeo are absolutely beautiful. Character models, the board you play on, the basement backdrop, your player's hands, the particle effects, all brilliant. I love to see devs push the quest too, and this here is a fine example of some great pushing. The audio is also up there, perhaps even better than the visuals. If we're talking about the voice acting, based on the time period being represented, the expected melodrama is present, the arguable overacting. But this is what's expected from the period, and is done admirably.
Die, fiend!
The score is also fitting and equally amazing, which helps pull you into this already immensely immersive experience. Let me hop right over to gameplay, because although Demeo easily checks all the required boxes, the gameplay takes top spot with top honors. I mentioned this before, I have zero experience in the genre. While I know my way around an RPG dungeon crawler, this is a dungeon crawler like no other I've ever played. The tabletop style is uncharted territory for me. The good news is, Demeo is so well designed, with an amazingly intuitive tutorial that holds your hand most of the way through. After you have done said tutorial, you'll find the mechanics at play here are designed for anyone interested in getting up and running with little to no difficulty or experience. I've got to admit, I was intimidated before playing, even after watching gameplay videos that gave tips and hints, even after receiving my review key, but some people work well with theory, and then there are people like me who gets the job done best hands-on. Once I started to feel the game, there was no turning back. Again, the tutorial was well designed.
Now turn your wrist to see your card hand and your new card. Zap is a replenishable card.
You play using a turn-based system like you would in any board game. You're presented on startup with the options of playing solo, using 1 to 4 characters, which you'll take control of during gameplay. The Hunter, the Sorcerer, which everyone so far avoids like the plague, but is my go-to since the days of Gauntlet in the arcades. The Assassin and the Guardian. Or you can go online and play with up to 3 other people. I found that playing with all 4 characters on my own at first was the best bet. After running through it alone, beating the Elven Queen on my first attempt really was the true training experience I needed. So by the time I jumped into a quick match online, I wasn't fumbling about making an ass of myself while dragging the rest of the team down with me. Or who knows, maybe I was, and because no one used voice chat in that particular match, I didn't hear how much I sucked. But I felt confident that as a noob, I was carrying my own weight well enough. And the more you play, the better you'll get.
You were victorious.
I noticed, although this is an RPG, the level up system I expected wasn't there, like leveling up your character's class as you progressed. After each game is done, you do kinda level up. But these upgrades seemed purely superficial. Well, so far, don't quote me on that, as I do honestly have a ways to go here. Still a rookie. In true tabletop Dungeons & Dragons style, when it's your turn, you have 2 turns to use actions. Either an attack, a move, a summon, and so on. When you decide to attack, you use the roll of a die. There are 3 things that will happen when you roll the die. You either get a normal attack, which is represented by 1 sword on the die, a critical attack represented by 2, and a miss. I hate those misses. Your character spirals out of control and who knows where their attack will end up. Yeah, there's friendly fire as well. You also use a card system. Each character in your party can carry a maximum of 10 cards, with a wide variety of special uses, from summoning elementals and lower beasts to help you fight, to special attacks, charms, and confusion spells, teleportation, and a bunch more. Each character has a passive ability. Those passive cards remain with you, but requires a cooldown time after each use. Again, I don't know if this is 100% factual, but so far I have not seen a way to permanently upgrade these passives, which would be great. But maybe there is a way, or maybe it will come to us in the form of an update. If anyone watching knows something about this I don't, feel free to share. While in battle, you can pick up an enemy to check their stats. This is a great strategy. You won't end up using an attack on an enemy that they're immune to. While playing, there's a mana meter. Once it fills to 100, which is based on your progress in game, you're granted new cards for the entire team. You can also pick up gold strewn about the levels, which is useful for the shop you enter after completing a floor. Buy new and better cards which suit your playstyle, and sell cards you got which do not.
That card will surely aid you in a pinch.
A part of the immersion I mentioned is the ability to turn off the backdrop, which is the basement you're playing in, as well as the ability to tilt the table. If you tilt the table, the basement background goes black, but you can also turn it off completely in settings. Tilting the table is a good option if you find yourself fatigued from looking down at the table the entire game, as each playthrough can take a while. You're also able to rotate and zoom the table as needed. This is so useful.
Eat it!
Perhaps some of the things I've mentioned are commonplace to this genre and nothing unique, but like I alluded to earlier, I'm a complete noob to this genre, so even the little things amaze me.
Let's see what we can see.
Although I'm not into playing the same game over and over, things have changed since Demeo. This is a game with infinite replay value. I'll be playing this many times over and will be adding it to my new under construction channel VR projects in the form of a Let's Play. It's just that good.
For the ground.
Demeo is a deceptively excellent experience. The broken record statement time. Watching these VR games flat do them no justice. And when I watched the videos of Demeo, I was interested, but never thought it would be this good. There are no cutscenes really, a story that takes a backseat early, no wide variety of flashy stages to choose from, or any of the other bells and whistles I've grown accustomed to as staples in gaming. But Demeo still manages to rock harder than any other game, any other genre I've experienced in such a long time.
Don't resist.
Now, with no scores, no meters, no pretending to know what's best for you pretentious nonsense, I'm simply suggesting you put all doubts and inhibitions aside you may have formed regarding this game from simply watching videos like mine, and give Demeo a shot, especially if you have an interest in D&D styled games. Demeo is it. There's really nothing more I can say. I'm sure as a tabletop novice, there's more details I could have added, and I apologize for said negligence, but Demeo is a winner regardless. Thank you for watching. If you like my content, feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell while you're at it, why don't you? Let's say I found a way to piss your fragile sensibilities off with this glowing review though. And then hey, this can't be your first time around the block. Hit them hate buttons with the might of the Rat King and the Black Sarcophagus combined and keep it moving. The dislike and unsub buttons aren't just there sitting pretty for show after all. Either way, I won't hold it against you. Our game is never over.
Season, Museum X.